Days Are Gone is the debut studio album by American rock band Haim. It was released on September 27, 2013 by Polydor Records. The album has spawned 6 singles: Forever, Don't Save Me, Falling, The Wire, If I Could Change Your Mind, and My Song 5. The album was recognized as one of the 100 best albums of the decade so far by Pitchfork Media in August 2014. Background: the 3 girls grew up in the San Fernando Valley, listening to the 1970s classic rock and Americana records of their music-loving parents. While they were still at school, their parents formed a family band called Rockin' Haim to play cover versions at local charity fairs, with Israeli-born father Mordecai on drums and mother Donna on guitar. Danielle and Est were members of the Valley Girls, an all-girl group inspired by Pat Benatar, Blondie, Gwen Stefani, The Pretenders, and Queen from Southern California, that was signed to Columbia Records/Sony Records and had a notable appearance on 2005 tween film The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants soundtrack. Their song Valley Nation by the SoCal Teen Prodigies appears on the 2005 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards soundtrack alongside such pop superstars as Avril Lavigne, Alicia Keys, Simple Plan, Good Charlotte. As they grew older, the girls became more interested in incorporating pop and contemporary R&B into their music. In 2006 they decided to form their own band. For the next 5 years, Haim played local venues, but did not take things further as all 3 sisters were busy with other projects. Est was studying at UCLA and graduated in 2010 with a degree in ethnomusicology, completed in just 2 years instead of the normal 5. Upon graduating from high school, Danielle was asked to play drums for the opening act on one of Jenny Lewis's tours, which led to Lewis asking Danielle to be her guitarist on the following tour. The Strokes singer Julian Casablancas came to see one of Lewis's shows on that tour, and he in turn asked Danielle to play guitar and percussion on his own solo tour. She has also toured as part of Scarlet Fever, the all-female backing band for CeeLo Green. It was after Danielle had played with other artists and Est had graduated that the sisters decided that they wanted to pursue their career as Haim more seriously. Youngest sister Alana spent 1 year in college before dropping out to join the band with her sisters. Having played shows supporting artists such as Edward Sharpe in the Magnetic Zeros, the Henry Clay People and Kesha, Haim's first release was a 3-song EP titled Forever, which was made available on February 10, 2012 as a free download on their website for a brief period. The EP received a lot of attention from the music press and the general public, and following a successful gig at the South by Southwest Festival in March 2012, Haim signed a deal with Polydor Records in the UK in June 2012. In July 2012, independent record label National Anthem released the Forever EP on 10 inches vinyl, containing the original 3 songs along with a 4th track, a remix of Forever by Dan Lisk. All songs on the Forever EP were included on Days Are Gone, except for Better Off. Following dates supporting Mumford & Sons on their Gentlemen of the Road tour in the US in August 2012. Haim made their debut tour of the UK in November 2012 and then supported Florence and the Machine on their UK and Ireland tour in December 2012. Singles: Forever was released as the lead single from the album on October 12, 2012. It peaked at number 75 on the UK singles chart. Don't Save Me was released as the second single from the album on November 8, 2012. It peaked at 32 on the UK singles chart. The song also peaked at 66 in Australia, 28 in Belgium, and 70 on the Irish singles chart. Falling was released as the 3rd single from the album on February 12, 2013. It peaked at 30 on the UK singles chart and 86 in Australia. The Wire was released as the 4th single from the album on August 9, 2013. It peaked at 12 in Australia and 16 on the UK singles chart. If I Could Change Your Mind was released as the 5th single from the album on March 21, 2014. It peaked at 27 on the UK singles chart. My Song 5 Inches was released as the 6th single from the album on August 15, 2014. Reception: critical reception. Upon its release, Days Are Gone received highly favorable reviews from music critics. At Metacritic, which assigns a weighted mean rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream critics. The album received an average score of 79, based on 34 reviews. Ann Powers from NPR stated Haim's thoughtful, playful music is good for the radio, good for rock, and good for music lovers of all ages who need to carve out a little space to dream. Becca James of the AV Club gave the album a very positive review. It could be an overstatement to say that if Days Are Gone is any indication of what's to come for Haim, the band is set. Matt James of Pop Matters complimented all overall production. It'd be hard to truly dislike Haim. They're an eminently likable, albeit slightly kooky, trio whose story already bears the frisson of legend. Three multi-talented siblings are Danielle, Alana and Esti, who were baptized in the dark arts of rock and roll by their own parents, and added, "It's not revolutionary, life-changing high art but right here, right now." Haim's sassy, enthusiastic, one-for-all joie de vivre feels freshly invigorating, infectious. Basically, a drop o' the good stuff. John Caramanica of New York Times hailed the synthesized and the hooked production and compared the girls to the early years of Madonna, Pat Benatar, Sheena Easton and Laura Branigan. "There's the slightly sinister bubbliness of early Madonna, the erotic power of Pat Benatar, the breathlessness of Sheena Easton or Laura Branigan," and continued, "Haim lashes all of these together with force and glee, a rapturous throwback. Oe Days Are Gone is as convincing as any major label rock album this year, especially its first half, which is slick, confident and winningly breezy." Jody Rosen of Vulture praised the album's fusion of everything from the Doobie Brothers to Janet Jackson to third-wave feminism combined with catchy 4-minute-long songs. John Dolan of Rolling Stone awarded the album a 3.5 stars out of possible 5. Their charming debut recalls the dancey side of 80s Top 40 radio as an AstroTurf Eden of chewy synths, neon cheese guitar quake and slick, airy melodies. In a less enthusiastic review, Andy Gill of The Independent gave the album 3 out of 5 stars, saying that the band is an insubstantiality at their core. Philip Matusavage of Music OMH gave a mixed review, commenting, "Stretched to album length, Haim's shtick grows repetitive and the music is too frequently solid rather than inspired." Accolades: Stereogum ranked Days Are Gone at number 8 on their The 50 Best Albums of 2013 list, stating, "On their debut album, Haim brings Stevie Nicks Float, Michael Jackson Glide, and Debbie Gibson Twinkle to the table, subsuming them all into the massive force of their collective personality. They're not indie, but if they were, indie would be lucky to have them." Commercial performance: Days Are Gone entered the Billboard 200 at number 6 with first-week sales of 26,000 copies. The album debuted at number 1 on the UK Albums Chart, selling 37,005 copies in its first week. On October 25, 2013, the album was certified silver by the British Phonographic Industry, denoting shipments of over 60,000 copies in the UK, and on December 27, 2013, was certified gold denoting shipments of over 100,000 copies. Track listing, notes, signifies an additional producer, personnel, credits adapted from the liner notes of Days Are Gone. Haim, Haim bass, percussion, production, vocals, Danielle Haim drums, guitar, percussion, production, vocals, Alana Haim guitar, keyboards, percussion, piano, production, synthesizer, vocals, additional personnel, charts, certifications, release history, references.